What a treat for you today, grasshoppers. Another of the big guns in artificial intelligence. Ray Kurzweil.
Oh, yeah, Kurzweil.
We're diving into a fascinating interview he gave at SXSW 2024, where he talks about the future of AI,
Right.
the singularity,
Yeah.
and even the possibility of living forever.
Living forever.
It's wild.
It is wild.
It's mind-blowing to think that Kurzweil has been involved with AI for, over 6 decades.
Wow, over 6 decades?
Yeah, he even had Marvin Minsky,
Oh,
a
wow.
pioneer in the field, as his mentor.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to think.
Minsky.
He predicted way back in 1999 that a computer would pass the Turing test by 2029.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the Turing test is where a machine can fool a human into thinking it's also human.
Exactly.
He was even surprised himself by how fast large language models are progressing,
LLMs?
or LLMs, are progressing, and had to delay his latest book to include them.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
What's fascinating is that this rapid progress is tied to something Kurzweil calls
Yeah.
the Kurzweil curve.
The Kurzweil curve, yeah.
It basically shows how computing power has been doubling roughly every 1.4 years.
Okay.
This exponential growth is why we can now build AI systems like LLMs, which were conceptually possible years ago,
Right.
but just didn't have the computing power to work.
So to unpack this Kurzweil curve for our listeners, it's like a graph showing how computing power has exploded over time, right?
Exactly.
And it's not just a steady increase, it's skyrocketing.
It's exponential growth.
Exponential growth.
Think about it. Early computers could only do a tiny fraction of a calculation per second per dollar.
Right.
Today, we're talking billions of calculations per second for the same cost.
Wow.
That's why AI is making such incredible leaps.
This makes me wonder, can studying LLMs teach us about the human brain itself?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, can seeing how these artificial systems process information give us insights into our own thinking?
That's an interesting question, and Kurzweil believes the key factor in both AI and the human brain is the number of connections, not necessarily their exact organization.
Oh, interesting.
He points out that while the human brain has different areas for different tasks,
Right.
LLMs function with all connections being essentially the same.
So it's about hitting that critical mass of connections, regardless of how they're arranged.
That's Kurzweil's view.
Okay.
He suggests that once an LLM reaches 1 trillion connections, which is about the same as the human brain,
Wow.
it will be able to perform tasks similar to humans.
Okay.
GPT-4, for instance, is already at 400 billion connections.
Wow, that's getting up there.
Yeah.
Okay, but this raises an important question.
Yeah.
Can math really capture everything about the brain?
Right.
I mean, what about consciousness, love, even the soul?
Yeah.
Things that seem beyond numbers and equations.
That's a good question.
Yeah, the audience at SXSW pushed back on this. So what was Kurzweil's take?
He acknowledged that consciousness is important,
Okay.
but argued that it's not a scientific concept because there's no objective test for it.
Oh, interesting.
No way to definitely prove whether something is or isn't conscious.
That's interesting because I know I'm conscious,
Yeah.
but I get his point. There's no instrument
Right.
that measures units of consciousness.
Exactly.
It makes you think,
Yeah.
how can we ever really know if something else is conscious?
Right.
Whether it's an animal or an AI.
You can't really test for it.
Yeah.
It becomes more of a philosophical debate than a scientific one.
Yeah. Okay.
But Kurzweil didn't shy away from the idea that emotions and feelings could be connected to the physical processes in our brains.
So while we can't objectively define or measure consciousness,
Right.
he's saying that the physical processes behind our experiences, like our emotions, are governed by the laws of physics and chemistry, which can be expressed mathematically.
Precisely.
Okay.
And as we understand the brain and AI better, we might be able to replicate those processes.
Okay. Even if we can't fully grasp the subjective experience behind them.
So are we talking about downloading our entire brains someday?
Yeah.
Like backing up our thoughts and memories onto a computer?
Kurzweil believes that will be possible by 2045.
Oh, wow.
The year he predicts the singularity will happen.
Right.
In fact, he and his daughter have already experimented with recreating his deceased father
Oh, wow.
using a large language model.
Really?
They fed the model everything his father had ever written,
Okay.
and by asking it questions,
Yeah.
they could get responses that felt eerily like talking to him.
That's both incredible and a little unsettling.
It is, yeah.
It makes you think about all of the ethical dilemmas this could lead to.
Uh-huh.
Like, what happens to debt if someone's mind is recreated?
Right.
Does the digital version inherit the financial obligations of the original?
That's a question even Kurzweil brought up.
Wow.
It's one of many fascinating challenges we'll need to grapple with as AI keeps evolving.
Speaking of the singularity.
It's clearly central to Kurzweil's vision,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also hard to wrap our heads around.
It is.
How can we even comprehend a future where intelligence is a million times greater than today?
Yeah.
It's like explaining the internet to someone from the 1800s.
Right.
The sheer scale and complexity would be beyond their grasp.
Kurzweil admits that we can't fully grasp it.
Yeah.
He compares it to a mouse trying to understand human intelligence.
Right.
The jump in cognitive abilities is simply too vast for us to truly comprehend.
Okay.
That's why it's called the singularity. It's a point where our current understanding breaks down.
So it's not just about technology getting better, it's about intelligence itself becoming something fundamentally different.
Exactly.
And Kurzweil sees this as positive.
Yeah.
A chance to solve humanity's biggest challenges.
Right.
And create a better future.
A better future.
But how do we get there?
Yeah.
What are the key technologies that will lead to the singularity?
Kurzweil highlights two in particular. Nanobots.
Okay.
And brain-machine interfaces.
Okay, so nanobots are those tiny robots
Yes.
that operate at the cellular level, right?
Right.
And brain-machine interfaces are devices that connect our brains directly to computers.
Mm-hmm.
But both of these seem to be developing much slower than AI.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Kurzweil argues that it's partly due to the inherent risks involved.
Yeah.
Anything involving the human body, especially the brain,
Right.
is met with a lot more caution
Makes sense.
and regulation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
People are understandably nervous about messing with their brains.
Yeah.
But Kurzweil is still optimistic about these technologies, right?
He believes we'll find safer and more effective ways to implement them.
Okay.
For example, he suggests that we might be able to achieve the benefits of brain-machine interfaces without actually having to implant anything in the brain.
That would certainly ease a lot of people's concerns.
Yeah.
But even if we can overcome the technical challenges,
Right.
there are still huge ethical questions surrounding these technologies.
You're absolutely right, and Kurzweil doesn't shy away from those questions.
Okay.
He raises concerns about unequal power distribution, the potential for AI to be used for harmful purposes,
Right.
and even the possibility of nanobots turning the entire world into paperclips.
Wait, what paperclips?
It's a thought experiment in AI safety,
Okay.
often referred to as the paperclip maximizer problem.
Okay.
The idea is that a sufficiently advanced AI,
Right.
given the simple goal of maximizing paperclip production,
Yeah.
could end up consuming all resources on Earth to achieve that goal,
Wow.
even if it meant wiping out humanity in the process.
That's unsettling, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bug.
So Kurzweil believes we can mitigate these risks, right?
He argues that AI can actually help us address these challenges.
Okay.
For example, he believes AI could play a key role in preventing nuclear war
Right.
and creating a more just and equitable society.
Okay.
But he also emphasizes the importance of designing ethical and safe AI systems from the ground up.
So it's not just about technological progress.
Yeah.
It's about using that progress responsibly
Right.
and ensuring that AI aligns with human values.
Exactly.
And this is where he sees a vital role for young people.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages them to focus on what excites them,
Yeah.
not just what seems profitable,
Right.
because the job market will be radically different in the future.
Exactly.
But he also urges them to think critically about AI ethics and safety
Yeah.
to help prevent dystopian outcomes.
It's important.
So what does all of this mean for our listeners, grasshoppers?
Yeah.
What should you all be taking away from Kurzweil's vision of the future?
It's a call to action, really. A call to embrace the possibilities of the future
Okay.
while also being mindful of the potential risks.
Right.
Kurzweil is painting a picture of a world where we could live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives.
Okay.
But achieving that future requires us to be proactive,
Okay.
to engage with these technologies thoughtfully, and to work together to ensure that AI serves humanity, not the other way around.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I'm still processing everything we've discussed,
It's a lot.
but I can't help but feel a sense of both excitement and trepidation about the future Kurzweil describes.
It is a future full of both promise and peril,
Yeah.
but one thing is certain. It's a future we're all going to be a part of,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not.
Right.
And the choices we make today will have a profound impact on the shape of that future.
You know, one of the things that struck me was Kurzweil's prediction that we'll reach longevity escape velocity by 2029.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He's saying medical advancements will be extending our lifespans faster than we're aging.
Wow.
He actually claims that anyone in that SXSW audience, if they stay healthy, could live to be 500 years old.
Wow.
I mean, does that even sound plausible?
Well, it's certainly a bold prediction.
It is.
But Kurzweil has a track record of making accurate forecasts. And he bases this one on the exponential growth of medical technology.
Right.
We're already seeing incredible breakthroughs in areas like gene editing, regenerative medicine, and artificial organs.
Okay.
It's not inconceivable that these technologies could, in the not-too-distant future, significantly slow down or even reverse the aging process.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that he's right.
Okay.
If people are going to be living for centuries, that completely changes our perspective on everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Education, careers, retirement, even relationships.
Everything.
All of these things would need to be rethought in a world where people routinely live for hundreds of years.
Absolutely. Societal norms and institutions would need to adapt to these radically extended lifespans.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where people have multiple careers spanning decades.
Wow.
Or even centuries.
Yeah.
Constantly learning and reinventing themselves.
Right.
Retirement as we know it would become obsolete.
And then there are the ethical implications.
Right.
We talked earlier about the potential for inequality. If these life-extending technologies are only accessible to the wealthy.
Yeah.
But there are so many other questions, too.
Yeah, like
overpopulation, resource scarcity, the psychological effects of living for centuries.
Yeah.
It's a lot to grapple with.
It certainly is, and these are questions that we need to be asking now.
Yeah.
Not waiting until we're on the cusp of these breakthroughs.
Right.
We need to consider the potential consequences of these technologies and develop ethical frameworks to guide their development and implementation.
Kurzweil also made a thought-provoking point about the potential for AI to solve some of humanity's most pressing problems. He specifically mentioned nuclear war, which has been a looming threat for decades.
It has.
Do you think AI could actually play a positive role in preventing such a catastrophe?
It's certainly possible. AI systems are already being used in areas like nuclear non-proliferation and arms control. They can analyze vast amounts of data, detect patterns that humans might miss, and provide early warnings of potential threats.
Wow.
As AI becomes more sophisticated, it could play an even greater role in de-escalating tensions, facilitating diplomacy, and preventing conflicts from spiraling out of control.
That's a glimmer of hope in what often feels like a very uncertain and dangerous world.
It is, yeah.
But it also raises concerns about the potential for AI to be used for malicious purposes. After all, if AI can help prevent war, it could also be used to wage war more effectively, right?
That's the double-edged sword of any powerful technology. It can be used for good or for evil.
Right.
That's why it's so crucial to ensure that AI is developed and deployed responsibly with safeguards in place to prevent its misuse. We need international cooperation, strong ethical guidelines, and robust oversight mechanisms to ensure that AI benefits humanity, not harms it.
Kurzweil seems to have unwavering faith that technology overall has had a positive impact on humanity.
He does, yeah.
He points to the dramatic increase in life expectancy, the decline in poverty, and the rise in living standards as evidence of this. But is he being overly optimistic?
That's a good question.
Have we really made as much progress as he suggests?
There's no denying that technology has brought tremendous benefits to humankind. We live longer, healthier, and more comfortable lives than our ancestors, thanks to advancements in medicine, agriculture, and sanitation. But it's also important to acknowledge the downsides.
Like what?
Environmental degradation, social inequality, the erosion of privacy, and the ever-present threat of technological unemployment.
So it's a mixed bag, really.
Yeah, it is.
Technology has the potential to solve some of our biggest problems, but it can also create new ones. Or exacerbate existing ones. It all comes down to how we choose to use it.
Precisely. Technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
It's up to us to decide how we wield that tool, what values we embed in it, and what kind of future we want to create with it.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
We have agency in shaping the future.
We do.
Even in the face of such rapid technological change.
Yeah.
But I'm still left wondering, what practical steps can we take to ensure that AI is developed and used ethically and safely? It feels like such a daunting task.
It is a daunting task, but not an insurmountable one.
Okay.
There are concrete actions we can take, both individually and collectively, to steer AI in a positive direction.
Like what?
For example, we can support research and development of AI safety mechanisms, advocate for strong ethical guidelines and regulations, and educate ourselves and others about the potential benefits and risks of AI.
So knowledge is power. The more we understand about AI, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about its development and use.
Exactly. We need to be informed citizens, engaging in thoughtful discussions about AI, and demanding that our leaders prioritize ethical considerations in AI policymaking. We can't afford to be passive observers in this technological revolution. The stakes are simply too high.
This all sounds very serious.
It is. Yeah.
And it is. But Kurzweil also encourages people, especially young people, to pursue their passions. He argues that in a world of rapidly evolving technology, it's more important than ever to focus on what you love, what ignites your curiosity and what brings you joy.
I think that's a beautiful message.
It is.
And it speaks to the importance of human creativity and ingenuity. In a future where AI will likely automate many tasks, our uniquely human qualities, our creativity, empathy, and our ability to connect with one another will become even more valuable.
So it's not about fearing the future or trying to resist technological change.
No.
It's about embracing the possibilities while also being mindful of the potential pitfalls. It's about using our human intelligence in all this messy and wonderful complexity to guide the development of artificial intelligence. And ensure that it serves humanity, not the other way around.
Well said. Kurzweil's interview leaves us with a lot to ponder, grasshoppers.
Yeah, it does.
His vision of the future is both exhilarating and unnerving. It's a future where we could potentially live for centuries, merge our minds with machines, and witness the birth of a superintelligence that surpasses our wildest imaginations.
It's a future full of possibilities.
It is.
But also fraught with risks. And ultimately, it's a future that we all have a role in shaping. The choices we make today, the questions we ask, the actions we take will determine what kind of world we create with this powerful technology.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
If a mouse could understand our world, would it see our intelligence as a blessing or a curse?
That's a good question.
We're like that mouse.
Right.
Staring up at the vast potential of AI, both in awe and apprehension.
It's true.
We need to be mindful and proactive to guide AI's development in a way that benefits all of humanity.
So grasshoppers, if you're fascinated by AI and its potential, don't just sit on the sidelines.
Get involved.
Learn more about it. Get involved in the conversation. And help ensure that we create a future where technology empowers us, elevates us, and helps us achieve our greatest aspirations.
Absolutely.
That's what this deep dive is all about, empowering you to engage with these ideas and shape the future you want to see.
The future is not something that just happens to us, something we create together. And that's an incredibly exciting and empowering thought, isn't it?
It is. Until next time, grasshoppers.